have been avoiding doing this video. I'm not even going to lie. I tried to avoid it doing braids. I tried to avoid it doing books. I even tried to avoid it by straightening my hair so as to prolong any kind of remotely close curly hair routine because I have been avoiding this video. But now more than ever, I feel like we just really need to talk. So So while I chit chat with you guys, I am going to be deep conditioning my hair to prep for a wash. If you don't know, I did straighten my hair earlier in the month. So I guess this will double as a straight to curly video, but this is not a tutorial, not a how-to, not even a tips video, because one thing that I have talked to you guys about is the place that I am with my hair right now is basically that I have it. That's it. I feel like I need to start from the beginning and go in chronological order just so you guys can really truly understand where I am, why I've been putting off this conversation, and knowing that this isn't something that comes lightly for me. So for time's sake, I am just going to, when I mean take it back from the beginning, I'm just going to take it back to the beginning of the uprisings. And I want to take it back that far because for me, that is when I really started to pay attention to the way that a lot of these brands were responding, not responding, handling the situation, like going on as if nothing were happening. A lot of them just literally could not read the social climate. It really was the catalyst for me to start to transform the standards that I wanted to uphold for brands that I wanted to give access to my channel. I talked to you guys about this before. And one thing about me, if you are familiar with me and like some of the chit chats that we've had, I'm already extremely picky with the brands that I work with and the brands that I promote, and it's just, you know, come over time. And this situation literally increased it 10 times more. Like, if I already had a super small list of brands that I trusted to actually promote, that list was cut in half, and then that list was cut in half. During that time, I just truly felt like I was seeing the true colors of so many brands I had personally promoted and worked with. And I was disgusted. Like, I'm going to be super transparent and say one of those brands that completely turned me off from them was Mielle Organics. Before anything ever popped up or happened with Linda Lynn and that whole just super crazy, like unprofessional situation, I had already decided to unfollow and make the brand unfollow me, like make it known, like basically severing any kind of relationship. I had went ahead and unfollowed them weeks before that. And so then seeing how they treated Linda Lynn and also knowing the experience that Jazz, aka Jazz Mary over here on YouTube, had with them, it was just kind of like icing on the cake for me, because I definitely am somebody, you know, who makes my own decisions, and I had already peeped exactly just stuff that didn't align with me. I watched some of those lives where she seemed to care more about Black businesses than the Black bodies, and where anytime somebody had, you know, any kind of question or concern, it seemed like she was immediately throwing God at people. And it's just like, I definitely cannot deal with it. Like, during this same time, I was basically contacted by somebody who is essentially a whistleblower for EcoStyler Gel. I think it maybe had been a comment of me asking EcoStyler why they were essentially tone deaf to everything that was going on, still asking for influencer free, again, still asking for finding creative ways basically to ask influencers to work for them for free, not really addressing it. And when they did, it was just like a really BS post. So I feel like maybe they saw me on that. They were essentially a whistleblower. They were somebody who held a high level position an eco stylist company for a few years, and they essentially provided screenshots, information, behind the scenes knowledge of the alleged racial and misogynistic practices that have been going on in eco styler for an extremely long time. And honestly, I believed them. I believed every single thing that they had to say. They provided me references, they provided me receipts, they provided me screenshots, and I believed everything that they had to say. And again, I say with everything, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And you know, people can be upset when they leave a job and all this, but usually when people are fed up, that's when they tell you everything. And usually whistleblowers are people not making up lies, but tired of not telling the truth, essentially. So for me, honestly, just through that conversation, it was enough for me, because at this point, again, I say, it wasn't just Mielle Organics. It was a whole bunch of brands that I severed ties with, and brands that I also had just never worked with and knew that from that point on I would not work with. I was so over just everything. That was all I needed to hear to be done. Like, so that was enough for me to know that I personally would never, ever, ever promote or endorse or create another piece of content for Eco Styler Gel ever again. If your praise is public, so is going to be my criticism. I have given Eco Styler Gel so much. I know for a fact I have put thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars in Eco Styler Gel's hands through the content and the videos that I promote. You know how they say, let your apology be just as loud as your insult? That is how I felt when I reached out to Eco, asked them, you know, to explain everything that we've been not only hearing, but seeing through their own actions, that they really could care less what's really going on with the movement, with the social climate. All they cared about was promoting the next product and making the dollar. I personally feel like it was an insult for me to have promoted them so long, to promote a brand that I felt like didn't have the integrity that I expect brands to uphold when I bring them on my platform. This is something that I have sat on for months and months and months now, because I didn't want to have this conversation, because I didn't want to essentially continue to give them promotion by speaking their name. And I really had to sit and pray and meditate and ponder and not rush this. If you guys remember, if you do follow me on Instagram, if you remember how long ago it was I posted all that information in my stories, you know that it has been a while. I don't have the time to really address it in this video, because again, it's so much that I feel like I need to address. I want to give this, you know, it's one final send off, address everything. I'll be coming with receipts. I'll be coming with screenshots, and we're going to address it. And also, I'm going to have a really big, exciting announcement at the same time for that. So I want to save that for a future video. As a natural hair, curly hair influencer, how do you continue to influence in the natural hair community when you don't necessarily want to be a part of a lot of it? Which brings me back around to what I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and the last elephant I feel like in the room, that is the natural hair community, which is why nobody want to be a part of it anymore. Saying nobody is obviously pushing it, because one thing that the natural hair community does not ever be in a shortage of is natural hair influencers, okay? Basically, so many people coming to the conclusion that pouring into the natural hair community, or pouring into creating specifically and exclusively natural hair content is for lack of better words, a waste of time. Largely, I feel like the catalyst for this conversation, by far and large, was the video created by Nappy Headed Jojoba, and the title was divesting in the natural hair community was great for me, to be honest. And I did watch that video in its entirety, and a lot of what she said really did resonate with me personally, specifically when she got to the part about creating content that adds value to others and to her channel. Just a little bit about this channel. I have been creating content for this channel since 2009. I created my first hair piece of content in 2011, and in that time I have been relaxed, I have been transitioning, I have been text-laxed, I have been natural, I have been curly, I have been every kind of natural, I feel like, under the sun. And so I say this with deep understanding that there is really nothing else, I feel like, of true exploratory, brand new, under the sun techniques, tips, and values that I can give you guys that I haven't already given you before, or that there aren't already 501 videos on the exact topic. And yes, there is the age-old story of bread, and there being 1,000,001 different, bread brands and all that, but there also is something to say about letting people drive in their lane. And I am definitely one of those people that if there is a helpful piece of content that somebody else has created that I watch that helped me, I am just going to direct you to that piece of content. I am not going to create the exact same piece of content repeating what they said so that I can get the views. I'm just gonna direct you to it. And so the way that I have been feeling for a very long time, like a very long time, short of getting a cosmetology degree, literally I've done it all. And I've talked to my friends, I've talked to my boyfriend, I've talked to anybody who listens about the fact of how many wash and goes can somebody do? Like, obviously you can record it, so it's like how many every time you wash your hair, you can do a wash and go. But as far as, again, creating content that brings values, like, because it's like, I do get it, there is a point, like, it's entertainment. People come to YouTube, yes, to learn, but also people come to YouTube to be entertained, to de-stress after a long day, to have a laugh, to check in with their favorite influencers. And that's the part that I really love. But I'm not gonna lie, it gets to a point where it's like, how much of it is adding value to your channel versus what I personally struggle with, which is continuing to add and feed into capitalism that is the natural hair community. And if any community, I feel like, really promotes just mass capitalism and consumerism and just hoarding and product junkie, it's the natural hair community. Just as soon as your hair start liking one product, is another one coming out that's telling you that it's so much better for your hair and it's gonna do so much more magic for your hair than the 37 other products that you got in your cabinet right now. And half the time, as the influencer, you creating at least 60% of this content for free because you need the views and you want to please the algorithm and you want to be one of the first people to get the, at the top of the search, on the search feed, which in turn creates the spoiled, entitled brands, like I feel like EcoStyler is, who don't feel like they really need to invest in and value their influencers because they're going to get all the promo for free. And it becomes this pressure, to continuously feed the algorithm and find the trendy things and get the newest product because you need the views, especially if you are somebody who is going to hold brands at a higher standard for working with you, so you aren't accepting as many sponsorships and collaborations as you could be. You need to be getting your income through what? Your views and your ad revenue. So it's like a whole spinning conundrum of making sure that there's a healthy balance in your core values, what's important that you stand behind, and also supporting yourself. And if you are an OG cousin, that essentially was, you guys know this, the intention behind the shift behind Hair Married to Finally Amber. It was about me stepping behind, you know, just doing hair and finally presenting myself as a whole, as like all of Amber and not just my hair. And I will say I am hard on myself, but I am proud of myself for doing that. Since then, since 2018, I have been consistently bringing content to my channel, whether or not those videos get views or not. That creates a whole picture of not just being about hair, create the space that I want it to look like. That when I go to my channel, I am happy with the space that is presented, that is all of Finally Amber. And it takes time, like especially when you do have a niche, because I would never tell anybody to just completely abandon your niche for a number of reasons. Number one, because you don't want to completely abandon the people that support you, like the content that they want to see. And at one point, hopefully you did enjoy creating. I'm not going to lie and say I never enjoyed creating or I never enjoyed creating natural hair content. It's just, for me, it has to make sense. So yeah, there is a lot going on in the NHC, and so much that I haven't even covered everything, like literally just covering the things that directly affect me, or that have directly affected me. Because one thing that will never change about my channel, and I feel like I started my channel saying this, and that will always be the basis no matter what kind of content or the direction that I'm going in, is that what works for me, and it may or may not work for you. And as I come to this last section of my hair, I just want to say this about the natural hair community, my community, because for better or worse, it is my community, just like other communities that we may be a part of, the Black community. And it is your community. No matter how much you want to distance yourself or not be around or part of them family members that get on your damn nerves, it's your community, okay? And as long as I have natural hair, as long as I'm an influencer, I will be a part of the natural hair community in some aspect, extent, size. You show me one community that don't get on your nerves from time to time that you a part of, and I'll show you somebody who not as a part of their community as they want to be. Because in order for something to get on your nerves, you have to be within it, all deep and through it, experiencing it. I don't want to give up on my community, but I do want to expand my community reach. But to say I'm done with the natural hair community, I can't see myself ever saying that, but I understand nothing is all bad or all good, like nothing. And that includes communities, especially communities full of millions of people with their own thoughts and personalities and rules and faves. It's just bound to be a cluster, but I think it's worth it. And like I said in my previous video, my journey is mine and your journey is yours, and what is for you will be for you. So if you are somebody who has been experiencing these feelings about the content that you create, maybe if it's not even natural hair, just wherever you are in the crossroads, just remind yourself that what is for you is for you. And if you are experienced that drive, that pull to expand or to do something different, it is not by accident. And what is for you will always be for you, and it's probably for a reason. If this was your first time visiting my channel and you made it all the way to the end of this long ass video, you definitely should be a cousin. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel. OG cousins, say what's up down in the comments, and I will see all y'all in the next one.